you're outdoorsing wrong. What's going on? Cold weather's here. It's actually snowing a little bit outside. We've got some flurries. I hope this stays. Hope we get lots of snow. But it's usually around this time of year when somebody makes a comment or asks me, what do I do in the winter? Or it must suck because you can't camp or hike anymore because it's cold. And I kind of give them that like confused dog look, like, what do you mean? I love this weather. I love hiking and camping in the summer, in the fall, in the spring, in the winter. I don't care. I just make changes to my gear. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that. This isn't going to be like, you get these videos where somebody's got, and they're like, in their thumbnail, and like, you're outdoorsing wrong. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to talk about, actually, I might use that for my thumbnail, though. I'm just going to talk about the gear changes I make and why, and if that helps you out, then awesome. So we'll get right into it. The biggest thing is staying warm. We get cold, right? The law of thermodynamics, I think it's the second law. Heat transfer always goes from warm to cold. You're not getting cold from the air, you're actually heating up the air around you. That's important to remember because what you want to do is keep your heat near you. So you use insulation, right? So like this is a base layer that I wear. I've had this for 5 years. I love this thing. Synthetic, it's polyester, super warm. It doesn't make me too warm if it's not super cold, but when it's really cold, it keeps the warmth in. It creates an air layer. Then I wear a fast dry, moisture wicking, synthetic blend t-shirt on top of that. It stays dry. It creates an air layer, keeps me warm. Then I'll wear my hoodie over that. Synthetic blend. This is, I think, like 60-40 polyester. There's a little cotton in this, but yeah, I couldn't find an orange one that was all polyester. But again, it does the same thing. It helps keep moisture away from me, creates an air layer, keeps me warm. If I need it, my puffy jacket, synthetic insulation, polyester lining and shell. Guess what it does? Creates an air layer, helps keep me warm. It's what the fill is or what the material is less important than the layer it creates, right? If I need something above this, then I'll throw something on that's more of like a wind layer, like a shell layer that helps keep wind off me. But usually with that many layers, I'm usually pretty good. I stay pretty warm. But again, it's not so much what it's made out of, other than to keep you dry, but it's more how much air it can hold in. If it's down or if it's synthetic, doesn't really matter. That's a personal preference thing. If you're looking to save money, go synthetic. If you're looking for a little more ruggedness, go synthetic. If you're looking for lightweight and compress, being able to compress, go with down. Doesn't matter. Whatever's more comfortable for you, that's what you go with. But the key is staying dry and keeping good air layers around you. When I wear this jacket, it's puffy, right? It's a puffy jacket or a puffer jacket. It's supposed to be puffy. I generally tend to stay in areas away from people. It's just what I tend to do. But when I was in Arizona, there was a lot more people. It was harder to stay away from them. And I'd see people out there, maybe 12 degrees, would be out there, Grand Canyon in winter, and I'd be fine, and I'd see people freezing wearing their puffy jackets because they would buy them a size or a size and a half too small, and they'd be really tight, form-fitting. Looks fashionable, crushing your insulation layer. It's not allowing air to build up, making them cold. Let your jacket do what it's supposed to do. Don't go for fashion. Go for function. So yeah, staying warm. To keep your body temperature up, eat more calories. You can't stay warm without calories. I'll carry more trail mix with me for when I'm hiking. The like peanuts, cashews, any kind of like nut or anything like that. Good to have. Maybe some chocolate mixed in there. A little more fat, some more salt, some more protein. A lot of calories. Gives your body energy to burn and it keeps you warm. At night when I get up to pee, I'll have a little snack. Like anything like that, just to keep energy in my body for my body to burn and create heat. The insulation will then do its job. Your insulation doesn't do anything to make you warm. It keeps you warm. On my feet, I've got my winter boots, which are insulated and they're waterproof, and I've covered those in a few different videos. I'm still using those Nordivates. Um, they're still working good. I'll be switching to those as my main hiking boots through the winter because I haven't yet had those freeze on me, so that's awesome. But inside those, even though they're insulated, I'll wear usually. I have been wearing my sealskins, which are very battered and bruised. These are actually starting to fail, but I've put a lot of miles on them, so I'm not mad at the sealskins. To replace them, I got these. These are made by a company called Randy Sun. Probably you can get them under a million names on Amazon. They were like $36, I want to say, somewhere in there, less than $40. They are waterproof. They're neoprene. They're not lined. Those have like a wool lining on the inside, which makes them really warm. These are not, but I'm going to see how they work out. I just got these. I just did my first trip with them, and they seem to be waterproof. Hopefully they are, but that keeps your feet dry, right? Waterproof keeps your feet dry. As I use these a little more, I'll talk more about them and see how they work out. But I figured if they don't, I'll just go back to the sealskins and get another pair of those. But I wanted to try something different. These are a lot softer than my sealskins, but I did see Panda was showing me her new sealskins that she got, and they're legit sealskins, and they feel like wool socks. They're really soft. So I don't know what they did to change what they're doing now to make them waterproof, but they really felt nice. So yeah, waterproof socks, and then I'll carry wool socks with me, and at night I'll take those off. I'll take any tight socks off I have and put really loose my sleeping socks. I don't have them handy, they're somewhere, but they're like polyester, really puffy socks. It's just really loose, so you don't like stick to your foot at all. That just helps the circulation stay to your feet, and that's what keeps your feet warm. So if you're wearing really tight socks in the winter, or really tight anything in the winter, it's going to constrict your circulation. That's going to affect how warm you can stay. Also, since I'm laying in a hammock, a lot of times I just leave my hiking clothes on. I don't change out, and a lot of people do. I generally don't. But what I'll do is I'll just loosen my belt, unbutton my pants, unzip them, leave everything loose, and that just helps your circulation as much as possible. And then, of course, you got your insulation on top of you, and what I said before, just to snack and keep your calories up. So for my head, since I got no hair, I usually carry two hats with me. I carry my OR hat, which is my favorite. This is actually brand new. I've got my old one that I've had for like 6 years. I don't know where I put it when I moved. I haven't been able to find it. So I've been looking for it. It must be packed away in a box somewhere. I remember seeing it when I moved, and I did that thing where I'm like, oh, I'll put it here because I'll never lose it there. I don't know where it went. So this is the Outdoor Research. It's called the Wind Pro hat. It's fleece lined, and it's like a real heavy. It's not really spandex. It might be. I don't know what it's made out of. It's stretchy. It fits real tight. It's perfect. And it blocks wind like crazy. It takes a lot for me to want to put my hoodie up because I'm getting cold with that on. Love this hat. It's like $35, I think. And I have no problem buying another one. My old one is 6 years old. It's still like brand new. So I have two. I'm set for life, I think, with those two hats. That's for when I'm hiking. But when I get to camp, I switch out to this one. This is, I got this from the Cairn Outdoor Box years ago. And it's the company that makes the hat is Cole, which is a really good hat company. I really like the hat. It's a wool hat. It's pretty heavy. And this has the extra added bonus. So they did a partnership with Uco, and they made the they sewed the patch into the hat that holds the Uko Air, so I don't have to have a headband. I can put this on. I've got the super light headlamp on my wool hat, and then I've always got my light with me. I've got my hat on. I can even sleep. I got the light right there. I don't have to hang it up anywhere. Keeps the hat or the light a little warm so the battery doesn't freeze. It's a pretty good setup, but the reason why I do the two hats is it doesn't matter how well you're trying to regulate your heat when you're hiking. You're going to sweat. Your head's going to sweat. So this hat will get damp. At night, even though it's staying warm on my head, that can be danger. So I'll take this off. I'll throw it either in my pocket, or maybe I'll just keep it in a hammock with me, or I'll throw it in my bag. I put this on because I don't hike with this on. It stays dry. Dry equals warm. So my head is warm. Got the hat on. I'll throw my hood up over it because I'll wear my hoodie when I'm sleeping. Throw my hood up over it. Keeps my head warm. My hands are under the quilt. I got light gloves I'll wear with me. I got my feet in there. Everything's warm. I stay warm. I can sleep with my head out of the quilt with no tarp, no bug net, and just watch the stars. If it's clear, it could be 5 degrees out. My face will get cold, and then I'll probably have a like a neck gaiter that I'll pull up, and I'll just have my eyes visible. Warm, staying warm, keeping your skin covered really helps you stay warm. So that's basically what I do for my wearable gear. Just everything is a little beefier, a little bit heavier. It adds some weight, it adds some bulk, but it's winter. So what I've been using for my 3-season bag this year is my Osprey Exos. Absolutely love this bag. Love it. I did the Queehana Trail, 74 miles, and my shoulders felt fine. My back felt fine. This thing carried like a dream that entire trip. Even though I had it loaded almost up to its maximum weight, it just chugged right along. Love that thing, but not real great. It's only a 48 liter. Since I use synthetic insulation, it's bulkier. So I've got to go with the big boy. And that would be this mamma jamma right here. My Atmos, my Osprey Atmos 65. This is loaded up with all my winter quilts. Oh, that's a new piece of gear too. All my winter quilts. I was going to go camp over behind Dragon and Pandas this weekend. We were going to go do a little camp out, and it started raining, so we did not set up. But I was all packed up, and this has just been sitting here since then. But my quilts aren't like packed out. I just stuffed them in here, so it's really puffy right now. But this is a 65 liter backpack. It's, what is this, 3 pounds? It's pretty light for a big pack. I'll pull the specs and I'll put them up. It's pretty light for a big pack, but it holds a bunch. It's got a very similar suspension to the Exos. This has got their anti-grav, and I got this in 2019, I think. So whatever version of anti-grav this is, they've probably updated it since then. But Osprey just makes an awesome suspension. I really like them. I could care less about the hip belt pockets. I don't really use them. But yeah, this is a great pack. It allows me to put everything I need in there, and still have a little extra room. It rides well. It's smaller than my old pack, and now, like I said, I've been using this for a few years, but the pack I had before this was my Teton Sports Fox 5800 or something. Was that Fox 5800? It was like an 80 liter bag. I had no idea it was that big. I thought it was a 58 liter by the name. It was a 80 liter. That thing was humongous. And I have a really hard time not filling all that space, so that thing was always overloaded with stuff I didn't need. This helps me keep that winter weight down, but still gives me enough room. So yeah, bigger backpack. I still carry all my other normal stuff. Hammock. I swap out my hammock quite a bit anyway, but I've been mostly carrying my Coyote pack with me on most trips this year. It's just so comfortable. It's just so comfortable. Tarp wise, big. I always take a big tarp in the winter. Even if I don't think I'll need it, if there's a 0% chance of precipitation, I will bring that just in case the wind picks up. Because either my Sil Poly tarp or my Dyneema tarp, 12 feet long, 8.5 to 9 feet wide, depending on if it's the Dyneema, which is the narrower of the two. You can just pull it down around you and create a 360 wind block, and that helps hold in heat because heat wants to rise. So if you're generating a little bit of warmth underneath there from you, it's gonna stay in there a little bit, not a lot, but maybe a degree or two, and sometimes that's all you really need. So I always carry a tarp with me, and yeah, all my bigger, puffier gear will fit in here with no problem. The other new piece of gear, and this really has no bearing on winter, but I picked this thing up. This is like a rechargeable battery pack. The reason why I got this is really only good for one night with my phone. It'll charge it up maybe 1.5 times, but it's got a wireless charger on the back, which is really cool because my phone is, actually I'm recording with my phone. My phone is, it does have Qi wireless charging, or QI, I don't know how it's pronounced. Wireless charging. So if at lunch I can put this on if I need to charge my phone. I can just put this face down, put my phone on it, it'll charge. It does have USB-C and a standard USB, and I think a micro USB in here. So yeah, standard USB for charging out, USB-C for charging out and charging the device, and a micro USB for charging the device. And then it's got the solar panel on the front, which even from the company, I don't even know what the name of the company is, Footwear. Even when I got it, there's a sticker on it, and it's like, don't rely on the solar panel. It's for emergency, just to give you a little bit of extra charge if you need it. And you can kind of trickle charge a phone in the sun with it. It'll give it a little bit of juice, but not a whole lot. But it's there just so if you need it. And it's got a flashlight on the bottom. And then you get a little compass with it too. That's been working out pretty good. But back to the winter stuff. And then probably the last thing that I really make a change on, and I do this a lot anyway, depending on the trip I'm doing, because this shelf over here is mostly stoves. I love my pocket rocket. I love the canister stove. You can boil water so fast. It doesn't really add that much weight, especially if you take a lighter pot. It's just fantastic. They do not do well in the cold, though. Even the 4-season mix. I don't have any kind of inversion set up, which maybe I'll look at this year. Maybe I'll try to get one where you flip it upside down. It helps it in cold weather. I don't really have anything like that. In the cold weather, they're just not as efficient. You kind of run the risk of separating the fuels, and then it's just, burning too hot or too cold or too dirty. So I just tend to skip it unless it's going to be in like the high 30s to 40s. Anything lower than, it gets towards freezing, I just leave it at home. And then I'll usually take my alcohol stove in the winter, or my solid fuel, my Esbit. Where's my Esbit? I don't even know if I can open my Esbit anymore. There it is. I've had this thing for a few years, and it's so, I've melted through the bag. I made that, oh man. And it's just all rusted. And I don't know if it won't open anymore. There we go. Yeah, it opens up. The thing is beat up. But it's effective. And it works really well. And the fuel cubes, which I think I need some new fuel cubes. The fuel cubes are also usually good as a fire starter. Although Dragon and I have had a problem getting a fire starter with an Esbit cube. I think that was a fluke. So I'll use either the Esbit stove or the alcohol stove. Generally, when I'm using the Esbit stove, though, I'm taking my canteen cup, and that I bought just because it's rugged, and I will just stick that right in the fire. So usually the Esbit stove is my, I don't want to have a fire, or I'm at lunch and I'm not going to light up a fire. I'm getting ready to leave in the morning and I'm not going to start a fire just because I'm packing down, then I'll use the Esvit cubes. But otherwise, I'll just light a fire and throw my canteen in there and boil my water in there because I'm using dehydrated meals anyway. But yeah, those are my stove options right now. I got a lot of canister stoves. I don't know. What do you guys use in the winter for your stove? Do you just use a fire? I know there's like white gas and things like that, and you got to pump them up. And I've never really messed with those. I've seen them. I know people use them, and they seem great. But I've never messed around with them. Maybe it's time to try a different stove. I haven't gotten a new one in a while. The other things I usually would add to that would be my Silky Gomboy and my Gerber Gator 2. This thing is a tank, this axe. I do take the knife out of the handle, or the saw. There's a little saw blade in that handle. It adds a little weight, and it's not needed. So I keep it with it when I'm storing it, but I stopped carrying it with me on the trail. Just because if I'm going to carry the Gomboy with me, there's no point in having that. If I'm not taking the Gomboy, I'll leave it in there. But it's really not good for cutting much, except for really small pieces of wood. But the axe is awesome. It stays sharp. The Gomboy is great. If you've never seen a silky saw, whoops. If you've never seen a silky saw, these have been adopted by the outdoor industry. These are designed as gardening saws, pruning saws. They're made by Silky is a Japanese company. They make these really awesome blades. These fold out, and you can get any number of folding saws. It doesn't have to be a Gomboy, but these blades, they're pull blades, so they only cut on a pull stroke. But they're designed for pruning. This is what they're made for, and you can angle them to get better pressure on the blade if you need it. But they're pretty tough. I've warped this pretty good cutting. It's jammed and it's bent and it's never broken. They're not super light, but I don't have to take the case with me. I can just take the saw, and that makes it a little bit easier. But generally, I'll take the case anyway, just because I tend to just take my stuff in the winter and place it down. And I really don't want to have this lost in the snow. It makes it easier to find. One of the things that I'd like to get is a bow saw, like an arboreal saw, and I've been toying around with it for the past couple of years. Maybe this year I'll pull the trigger and I'll mess with that. It just gives you a little bit more flexibility as far as blades, because you can just use regular hacksaw blades on those, and they pack down pretty small and pretty light. So I might mess around with that. So a couple things I might tweak this year for my winter setup, but pretty much that's it. I just bulk up on my clothes, make sure it's all fast dry and creates layers, make sure my calorie count is up, and for staying warm in camp, take some gear with me to start fires. Usually rely on, I don't carry any kind of fire starter with me. I don't carry like pre-soaked cotton balls or any kind of pre-made like magic fire starter stuff. I don't carry any of that. I just rely on natural, what I can find. I just rely on what I can find. So usually birch bark, and around here, especially around here, we got a lot of red pine and hemlock grows. So you can find a lot of dead pine or hemlock, and that's really good tinder. So if you can find that, you can create a little bird's nest out of that, light it on fire, and that's a good fire starter. I'll carry some fat wood with me. That's about all I carry for fire starter. And hand sanitizer. Works fantastic. So this video was all over the place. I know. I was unprepared. I did a hike last week, and on Thursday it was really nice, and I'm like, I'm gonna go for a hike. I looked at the weather. I'm like, I'm not gonna record the hike. It's just up in Music Mountain. I've hiked up there a bunch, and I've recorded up there. It's supposed to be really nice on Sunday, and I was gonna maybe go kayaking or do something on Sunday, and Sunday just was miserable. It rained and it was cold. And it was just bleh. So I wound up not doing anything. And then I realized, oh, I don't have a video. So this is what you got. Next week, most likely won't put up a video because I air on Thursdays, and Thursday is Thanksgiving here in the U.S., so most people are going to be snoozing from the turkey or driving home or doing something. So no video next week, most likely. And then we got a trip we're doing at Thanksgiving, and it should be interesting because we're calling an audible. Don't even know what we're going to do now. We're changing our plans, and but that's like a Thanksgiving tradition now. So we've just we just, no pun intended, we wing it on Thanksgiving. So that's what we're going to do. We'll come up with a plan for that, and then we'll have that video up. I'll have that video up, and I'm sure Dragon will have a video up. It'll be fun. So thanks for watching. Hope it helped, and I'll see you in the next. Happy Thanksgiving next week. Unless you watch this after Thanksgiving, then happy next Thanksgiving.